I'm Abigail Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and today I'm on the phone with Nick Charles. He is one of the executive producers of Stage Door Repertory Theatre, which he runs with his wife, Julie. And he's here to talk about Noise Off, which is opening on June 13th. Nick, before we begin on Noise Off and kind of what that show is all about, can you tell us a little bit about yourself so our audience can get to know you?
Oh my goodness, that will bore everybody. Let's see. I've actually been doing theater forever. I go back to 53 years. I'm in my 53rd year doing this. I always said when I hit 50 years I would retire, and I kind of did for 2 years, but I got bored. And so I decided, I talked to my wife and I said, let's reopen the theater. And she said, you're crazy. And I said yes. So, but I started out as an actor. I progressed from actor to director because I wanted to be a better actor. And so I thought, to be a better actor, I need to know what a director goes through, and then I can understand that part of it and understand better why a director says or does what they do. So I started dabbling in directing. And then I progressed from that to artistic director at a theater. And then I decided I wanted to start producing my own shows. So we opened our own theater and we kind of grew from there. This is actually kind of a reopening of our theater. We had the theater for 11 seasons and then we retired and we lost our lease. And then we decided, well, instead of reopening, let's just retire. 2 years went by and I said, let's reopen. So here we are, 2026, and we're doing it again.
That's so awesome. A revival. That's fun to bring it back. Got to keep people on their toes. When it comes to this show that you're doing, how would you describe Noise Off? Because it looks like, based off some reviews off it, that it's a comedy. But can you tell us a little more of kind of like what it is?
Actually, so the show is called Noises Off, and it is a British farce written by Michael Frayn. And when it first came out in 1982, it was actually the reviewers that reviewed the original production literally said, this is the funniest show ever written in the history of theater. And it really is a classic. It is a play within a play. So the play that the audience ultimately is watching is a British farce called Nothing On. And it all has to do with sardines and doors and boxes and bags and words and people and mistaken identities. And it is 2.5 hours of nonstop chaos. So what looks like you're watching a show, in the very first scene, you discover you are watching the rehearsal, the final dress rehearsal of a show that is not ready to open. The actors can't remember their lines, their entrances, what props they're bringing on. There are 4 plates of sardines. Some of them come on, they go off, they go in one door, they come out the other door. And the director is actually sitting in the audience. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he emerges and you realize you're watching a rehearsal. The second act, the stage actually turns 180 degrees. And the second act, you're watching the exact same portion of the play, Nothing On, but now you are watching it from backstage. So now the audience is seeing what happens backstage during the play. And the actors in that particular play are no longer getting along with each other. They're fighting. So you're seeing all the fighting that goes on backstage. Act 3, the stage turns back to the front again. Now the show, Nothing On, has been touring for several weeks, and it has completely fallen into chaos. And it has devolved into a total mess. So it is one laugh after another, where the audience gets to see how a show goes from rehearsal to performance to complete chaos.
Yeah,
And it's all funny.
that sounds, well, yeah. It does sound funny. It sounds like it's a love letter to a theater production's worst nightmare, if that makes sense.
It really is. And there have been a lot of plays. Everybody knows the something goes wrong
Like
series of plays. The play that goes wrong. The play that goes wrong, Peter Pan that goes wrong, all of these they all came off of this original show. That whole idea of a play within a play that is falling apart in front of the audience's eyes. It all started with Noises Off.
That's super fun. In comparison, Noises Off in comparison to the real live production and how you guys have been doing your tech and your dress rehearsals and your practices, how realistic do you feel like leading up to this play? Does it feel a little meta?
What's really interesting is because all of the things that happen that go wrong are real things that have happened and gone wrong during plays. Actors forget props. Actors forget which prop they're bringing in. Actors forget which door they're going through. This particular set is 2 stories, and it has 8 doors, 4 upstairs, 4 downstairs. And they have to run up and down the stairs on the front of the stage and the back of the stage and remember which door they're going in and out of. And that's real life. All of that happens during the course of rehearsals. The first few rehearsals, it's hard to do something wrong on purpose. You want to do the right thing, but when the thing you're doing is supposed to be wrong, you have to break that mental block that, I'm supposed to be doing it the correct way, but I have to do it incorrectly. So your brain is constantly fighting on which direction you're going when it says the stage directions in the script give us both. They tell us what the actor is supposed to be doing. So you read that and you go, okay, I'm supposed to do this. And then it also gives you the way you're supposed to be doing it incorrectly. So you have 2 stage directions. You have what's correct and what's incorrect, and you have to do what's incorrect.
Wow.
Confusing.
That is
confusing.
It is
very confusing. And from an actor's point of view, and this is something that a lot of audiences don't realize, stage directions are always to the actor's left and right. So when the actor is standing on stage looking at the audience, stage left is to the actor's left, which would be the audience right. The stage right is to the actor's right, which is the audience left. When the set turns around, now the actors are on stage. They're still performing for our real life audience, but they're also performing for a make-believe audience that is on the opposite side of the stage, the backside. So now you're up there and you're facing the fake audience, and you have stage left and stage right. But in reality, you're in a real theater where stage left and stage right is the opposite to the direction you're facing. So when you're reading stage directions, it can get very confusing. Which way am I facing? Which way is the real audience? Which way is the fake audience?
Wow, that definitely, it seems like a challenging play for actors, but what a
It really is.
fun challenge to kind of really stress what you know as an actor and what are you capable of bending and breaking those habits. So it's kind of, I don't know, that it does sound like such a challenging play as an actor, but how fun is that to do something that kind of really forces you to relearn all the rules of stage direction and a production.
And also going in and out of doors. When it says you exit, normally you're on the stage and you leave the stage, you exit. In this case, act two, when you're backstage and you are entering the set, you're actually exiting from this side, but you're entering onto the set, which is facing the other direction. Act two is probably the hardest to stage and to learn, because it really is a complete backwards view of everything that an actor does on stage. Everything is reversed.
Wow. Yeah.
Your entrances become exits, your exits become entrances, your left becomes right, your right becomes left, your up becomes down, your down becomes up. Everything is completely turned around. And you have to break that muscle memory in order to get this correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're dictated by the story that you're telling. You have to go in these doors. You have to come out those doors. You have to carry those props in. You have to carry those props out.
Wow.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. And there are nights where you feel like, I'm never going to get this. And then the magic happens and it all clicks. And it is an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah. What can you tell us about now reaching the final days? What have you already seen some of those magical moments where you're like, it's flowing, the jokes are hitting, like the things are landing, even though it's so backwards?
It is still one of the funniest shows I have ever seen. This is the third time I've directed it. And each cast brings their own magic to a show and their own experience, their own life history that they bring with them. It is still funny to this day. And the last two nights, we've had full dress rehearsals. And some of my laughing it's real laughs. There are moments that just hit. And each night it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. It's just really fun to watch. I could watch this show over and over and over. It just is so beautifully written. You almost have to work overtime to do a bad production. You have to, on purpose, say, we're going to do a bad production in order to do this show incorrectly. It is a gift. It is so beautifully written, and the actors have worked their tails off, and it's showing. They really deserve an audience at this point. They need to feel that.
Yeah,
and that will push them to the next level.
Yeah, this sounds like you said an incredible cast, incredible acting, and the show you said it opens up June 13th, so that's
this Saturday. Yeah,
and I looked at all the dates, so it's again on the 18th and 20th, the 18th through the 20th, the 22nd, and the 25th through the 27th, and those are
it's 10 performances.
Okay. Those are Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays?
Yes, mostly Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There are two shows on Saturday, the 20th, and two shows on Saturday, the 27th. And then we have one Monday evening show on the 22nd. The evening shows are at 7:30, and the Saturday matinees are at 2 o'clock.
Okay, that's awesome. And it's to buy tickets or to just learn more about your theater and the productions. It's stagedoorrep.org.
Yes.
Okay, that's super awesome. What can you say about the theater community in general? What is something that you feel like is so important about having live shows and performances and what they bring here?
Well, it's a completely different experience than sitting at home watching television or even going to a movie. You have a live performance in front of you that no two performances are identical. You can go see a show 2 or 3 times and you will see 2 or 3 different shows. The audience reactions are different. The actor's response to things happening on stage. Things do go wrong. People do miss entrances. Props end up in the wrong place. People forget lines. Every night is a new experience, and it's magical. The theater community, the local theater community, is just booming right now. We have a lot of theaters, a lot of opportunities for actors, and a lot of places for people to go and be entertained. We have R3 here in Rigby, as well as our new theater. But in Idaho Falls, there's IFIAC, there's Ammon Arts, there's Center Stage, Sounds. I mean, there's just so much opportunity. You go further north, Rexburg Arts, and keep going further. St. Anthony has a theater. You get into Island Park with the new Play Mill opening up this summer, their new location, and then the brand new Westgate Theater in West Yellowstone. We're just surrounded by amazing talent.
That's so true. There's such a big community of it here, and like you said, it's very different from like on the TV or anywhere else to have live performance, and they're so unique. Like you said, even if you see the same show, the same actors, it's just different every night.
It really is. And you can see the same show at 2 different theaters, and you're going to get a completely different experience. So unlike going to a movie or watching a TV show, you go to a movie at one theater and go to see that same movie at another theater, it's the same movie. You're watching the exact same thing. And going to live theater is something that I think more people should at least try. Get out of the house. Go support local theater.
Yeah, that's so true. And speaking of getting out of the house, you have auditions coming up for your next show. Is it called Nonsense and Nonsense? Oh my goodness, it's a tongue twister for me. Nonsense and Nonsense. Amen.
Yes. So Nonsense is another comedy. It is 5 nuns that the story goes that the nun cook accidentally poisoned 52 nuns in the convent, and they all died. And 5 nuns are left, and they have to bury all of these nuns. They get all of the funerals done, and they're down to 6 nuns, and they've run out of money. So they put the nuns on ice, and the show, Nonsense, is a fundraiser. It's supposed to be a fundraiser for the nuns they're doing a variety show to raise money to bury their sisters. Nonsense, Amen is the exact same show, except it is performed with men in the characters. And one of the critics that when the show first came out said, this is no drag. It is not a drag show. It is not played silly like men dressed up like nuns. It is exactly the same show. It's the same music. It's the same dialogue. It's the same characters. It's the same choreography. The only difference is 5 men put on the nun habits and do the exact same show. It is absolutely hilarious.
That's so funny.
So we're doing both shows. We're doing both shows in rep. So we will have 5 women performing on one night in Nonsense, and the next night we'll have 5 men performing in Nonsense, Amen. And we will alternate performances that way.
Yeah, that's super exciting. And
so you can come and see both shows,
mm-hmm.
and you will see the same show, but with 5 different performers. The only difference is in one production it's 5 women performing, and the other one it's 5 men performing, but they are the exact same characters.
Wow, that does sound fun. It goes back to the whole point that we were talking about, how you can see the same thing and it can be completely different.
Absolutely.
for auditions for this show coming up, they're on June 23rd and 24th by appointment at 6:30, right?
Yes, yeah, we're starting at 6:30. They can email auditions at Stage Door Rep and make an appointment, bring in a song, and show off.
These are both very comedic, funny plays that will be fun to watch or even participate in.
Absolutely. Come out and audition.
For real. Is there anything you'd like to add before we close our discussion?
Well, my wife and I just want to say that we are absolutely thrilled that the theater has been so openly accepted and welcomed. The response has been wonderful. The last show we did was a school edition of Les Miserables, and we sold out all 10 performances or 11 performances, completely sold out, and that was really exciting. That was a cast of 32 students ages 10 to 18, and the response to that show was wonderful, and the audiences loved it. We have people coming back to see this show. Our first show we opened in January was a musical called Something's Afoot. We had a great turnout for that. So we just are so thrilled that the local community has supported us, and other theater groups in the area. You know, several people from the other theaters have come in groups to see our shows, and that's always exciting too. My wife and I see a lot of theater. When we're not doing theater, we go out and see theater. So it's always fun to meet new people, and we just would love everybody to come and check us out. We promise them a really good time.
This is Abrielle Millett for BYU-Idaho Radio, and today I've been on the phone with Nick Charles, who is one of the executive producers of Stage Door Repertory Theatre, which he runs with his wife, Julie. And Noises Off will be opening June 13th. This is a show that is comedic and nobody will want to miss. So thank you so much, Nick, for speaking to me today about your theater and the show that's coming up soon.
Well, thank you for having me.